approaches that Coach David Wells and Coach Joe Collier have really implemented with the Jays and the Cavaliers respectfully, and that's paid off for them quite well as we've seen once again the power of the running backs just continue to make a noise. For Jeff City, you have Rodney Wilson, Kendrick Johnson, and Kentrell Jordan, and also too with Jacobs and Thomas, they've made noise as well. As we take a look at this first half stats.
Let's take a look at the game overview presented by MediaCom Bowl. We're taking Fast Further. Be among the first in your community to get lightning fast internet by pre-registering at MediacomCable.com/bowl.
And we take a look at those numbers once again. 9 passing yards, 119 rushing for Jeff City, and 103 for Capital City. Again, it does come down to the run game, and once again, time of possession just as important. Not a lot of third down conversions, though. Only 1 for 5 for Capital City, 2 for 4 for Jefferson City, and then Jefferson City getting the 4th down conversion on the trick play from Tadson to the quarterback Wilson. Really kind of kept that JC drive alive, and really is kind of what helped them get on the board to get that 7 points. So we take a look at, once again, the many attackers that Jefferson City has with Garrett, Jordan, Wings, Wilson, and Wilson again, the quarterback, is really making some noise. As we take the 8 weeks, just continuing to move forward, and Jacob Wilson trying to go early in the first quarter, but couldn't get it done. The Capital City again, Jalen Thomas with a nice little sneak, but both teams just trying to fight it out to get points on the board. Jefferson City did just that with less than 2 minutes in the first half.
See who can get it done in the second as the Jefferson City Jays lead over the Capital City Cavaliers, and they've done it with their offense on the ground and a little trickery as well. But the misdirection in the backfield has played a key component to the success of this JCJ's offense. Let's see what they can do in the second half if they receive the ball to start quarter number 3. Back in a moment. This is Mid-Missouri High School football on MC22.
Well, because it's the past. and that's true, because I've thought about that. I mean, definitely the fastest. And the biggest thing I hear most people talk about is the stability of it.
MediaCom's network is very reliable. We have a lot of programs in place that can monitor kind of issues that arise. That way we can fix them before they reach the customer.
Trust the pros. Get extreme internet starting at $9.99 a month for a year.
At MediaCom, we believe that whether you live here, or right here, or way out in the middle of anywhere, you should have access to fast, reliable internet. That's why we were one of the first to bring gig speeds to every customer we serve. Why we're blazing new paths to bring fast internet even further. And why we're leading the way in developing one of the nation's first 10G platforms. It doesn't matter where you are. With MediaCom, you're always moving forward.
2 seconds, 1 second for the win. Oh, that's good. Bruce Thornton for the win.
Did you miss that buzzer-beating shot or want to watch it again and again? Visit our updated website, mc22.net. Discover everything MC22 has to offer. Check local listings on the go with our mobile-friendly website. Check the all-new sports calendar to find when MC22 will be at your school. Register for an account today and start watching live and on-demand sports, shows, and more. The new and improved MC22.net.
I've heard nothing but great reviews. MediaCom's Wi-Fi 360 Pro has really been a game changer for our customers.
The Wi-Fi 360 Pro can handle speeds up to a gig, which is phenomenal for any kind of at-home usage.
A lot of them are happy with it because they get 2,000 square feet of coverage in the house. So you have coverage in your upstairs, garage, and all across the home.
Trust the pros. Get Extreme Wi-Fi 360 Pro for $10 a month.
back to Atkins Stadium here in Jefferson City, Missouri, as we take a look at the Jefferson City Jays schedule coming up. Of course, right here they lead 7-0 as we get ready for the second half against Capital City. Next week they go to Como to take on the Hickman QPs, who stand at the bottom of the CMAC standings right now. Then they take on the big boys, the Elias Crusaders, right here at home on October 7th. Then they finish off the year at home with Battle, and then on the road at Moberly.
And one thing that you notice with Jefferson City, and previously, before the CMAC era, this was a Class 6 team with a bunch of their out-of-conference games being teams out of the St. Louis region. Not as many local matches, but this kind of plays to Jeff City's advantage. Now in Class 4, you have an opportunity to really get close with some of the local teams, and that can set them up well, not only for CMAC standings, but for district play as well. Same thing for Capital City as well.
This has been a surprising season for fans around the CMAC, but not for the Capital City Cavaliers. They rounded off 3 wins before they took their first loss last week at Rockbridge. Trying to figure out how they can claw their way back into this one, down 7-0 against Jefferson City. Next week they take on the Elias Crusaders right here at home. Then they finish the season at Smith Cotton, at Truman, and at home against Kirksville. The bottom half of that schedule is very favorable, but they've got to get through a gauntlet this week and next week.
And also, too, one thing to keep in mind is if you take a look at the results, they like to play their opponents close. They've only won it by an opponent by no more than 10 points, and that was in the season opener against Warrensburg. Also, something I've noticed, too, with Capital City, they've made their impacts early on in the half, whether it be early in the second half like we saw against Battle a few weeks ago, or early in the half as what happened last week in Columbia against Rockbridge. It's all about making that impact immediately when you can. So I would look for Capital City to do that leading off here in the second half, but also keep in mind with their schedule setting up favorably, they could possibly be hosting a home playoff game come October as well.
Absolutely. And although Capital City hasn't been around all that long, Jefferson City has been the talk of the town for years and years and years. But in year number 3, this should be the first opportunity for Capital City to take down Jefferson City. Last year, the Jays won big by 35 here at home, and then Capital City couldn't even get on the board in the first season. So this has been a completely different, at least first half, than you've seen in the first 2 games of this series altogether.
Well, one thing I noticed is someone from the Capital City Spirit section just running across saying Capital City versus everybody. That's a mentality that this team has embraced going into year number 3. Because if you look at the numbers beforehand, this team only just won 2 games in their first 2 seasons, going 2-16. They're 3-1 as it stands right now. So it's just a completely rejuvenated team, but also a team that has built the chemistry. They've taken the time. They've done the workouts to do that. And once again, you take a look at the game last week, potentially 7 points away from being 4-0. So we'll see, obviously, how these 2 teams are going to compete in the second half, and we'll see how these 2 teams will compete next week in Columbia. We're headed back to Battle Camp.
Yeah, we love being at Battle and seeing Jonah Davinsky's squad alongside Ricky Dunn and Justin Goolsby. And they are going to bring the show back to Battle, 6:55, live on the channel. Will be kickoff on MC22. We're really excited for that game next week, John.
I am too, and also our chance to see Smith Cotton for the first time this year as well, as they're a team. Their record doesn't show how well that they can play on the field. They're pesky. They'll always try to keep you into the game, so going to be a sneakily good one in the east side of Columbia next Friday night, but we've got another great game right here as we're about 1:25 away going into the second half. Going to be interested to see if we'll still continue to see, well, first off, more than 9 passing yards between the 2 quarterbacks going into half number 2, but also just how each team is going to answer back.
Second half coming up. Mid-Missouri High School football continues after this on MC22.
2 seconds, 1 second for the win. Oh, it's good. Bruce Thornton for the win.
Did you miss that buzzer-beating shot or want to watch it again and again? Visit our updated website, mc22.net. Register for an account today and start watching live and on-demand sports, shows, and more. The new and improved mc22.net.
Well, the second half is upon us here in Jefferson City as we welcome you back to Mid-Missouri High School Football Showcase here on MC22. The Jefferson City Jays and the Capital City Cavaliers in year number 3 of their newly formed rivalry. And Jefferson City dominated the first half, showed offensively that they could come out and showcase a number of different sets, a number of different ways to gain yardage, but most of that was done on the ground, Joe. The only passing attempts from the entire first half were from Jefferson City Jay quarterback Jacob Wilson, who was 0 for 2. So I wonder what the philosophy may be here in the second half as they get the football to start the half. If they keep running the ball, or maybe they open it up and do something different.
I mean, once again, stick with what you know, really, to keep at it. But, I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, especially if you have a de facto rivalry game and a nice quick catch coming from the Jeff City receiver. The number 9, Colton Ketchum, just went right to his hands. No run, no problem.
Yeah. Sometimes the up men don't always have the best hands, but in that scenario, you found somebody who knows what they're doing, and we've seen Ketchum's number called a couple of times tonight. We'll see if it gets called again here on 1st and 10.
Once again, both teams running just under 5 yards of play.
Jacob Wilson following his blockers across the 45 and picks up a big gain to start the second half on 1st and 10.
So we're seeing just as what we've known with Capital City and Jeff City here in the second half is just continue to just go with the run, slow it down, and really take advantage of the clock while you can, because that was a big key factor to get Jeff City on the board. I think, what, a 7-8 minute drive for their scoring drive late in the second quarter, all benefited from that time of possession.
Tadson and Duran motion left for Wilson to hand off to Garnett. Muscles his way just short of the first down marker, brings up 31.
Just great protection coming in from Capital City just to try to continue to slow it down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see just a little more, just a little extra pushes just to try to get just over the line and continuing to maintain control. That's what Jefferson City's done all season long. Not dissimilar to what Capital City has done too, because you're seeing once again a mirror image of each other just playing out in front of us tonight.
No gain on the play for Ethan Garnett. Great defense by Capital City and a host of tacklers there to make the stop. Gavin McDaniel was one and Isaiah Franklin the other.
Great stop. They're going to go for it.
On 4th and 1, they give to Wings, and he's brought down in the backfield. It's the big fella, Marquise Galladay. Said not on his watch on 4th down. The big man got in the backfield and brought Wings down by his ankles.
And he was a man on a mission, just looking back and saying, you think you're going to move forward? Not in my house. Not today. And just like that, Capital City now in favorable field position to try to even this thing up.
Twin back set as they fake to Jacobs. Here goes Carroll. Hayden Carroll high stepping it to the house. A 45-yard touchdown run by Hayden Carroll. And he puts Capital City on the board here early in the third. That's how you answer.
And that is how you handle a football and just go past 1 defender, 2 defender, 3, and get 6 on the board. And if you're Capital City, that is an absolute picture-perfect way to start your drive and to start this second half. 7 seconds, no problem for number 7.
On for the kick is Joe Schaefer. It is up through the uprights and good. It's a tie ball game here in JC. With 9:59 to go in the third, we'll step aside here on MC22. We've got a ball game at Atkins Stadium Back in a moment. Mid-Missouri High School football continues after this on Mediacom 22.
Get fast, reliable internet from Mediacom for free. Visit MediacomCable.com/ACP to see if you qualify for the Affordable Connectivity Program. Qualifying customers can get super fast speeds up to 100 meg for free. You'll have the speed you need for streaming, video chatting, online learning, and more. Plus powerful in-home Wi-Fi and 99.99% network reliability. Visit MediacomCable.com/ACP today to learn more.
A 45-yard touchdown run that was set up by a 4th and 1 stop by the Capital City defense. 2 plays have changed the course of this game. And now Schaefer will squib it. Looked like a J, fell on it at the 38. But at least a worthy attempt by Capital City, trying to switch it up on special teams, doing anything they can to break up the monotony of their offense and the predictability of their team. And I think that's what came from the Hayden Carroll 45-yard touchdown run. Nobody was expecting him to fake and run.
And we were talking during halftime saying Carroll, he has the ability to make big plays like this, but he has just reliant running backs. But now we see why he's so good. And a quick pass coming from a J.
Here's Wilson completing his first pass of the night to Ethan Garnett. A negative gain on the play, loses a yard. And I think his intended target was downfield, but he got it to Garnett for the check down.
Schaefer coming in just to push him just out of bounds, but pushing him back just a little bit to make it now 2nd and 11. Great sight, great pressure. Maybe this is the adjustment that we were talking about. Potentially more attacking in the air, not so much on the ground.
Motion left for Jordan. He gets the pitch. Jordan sheds a couple tacklers, finally brought down from behind by Joe Schaefer. Pickup of about 5 on the play. We'll bring up a 3rd manageable.
It's been just
Jay's
about,
offense.
and that's just been the average yards per play for both of these teams tonight. So wouldn't be surprised if you saw another quick little run, whether it be going back to Garnett, maybe sneak in Jordan there as well, or once again, if you're Wilson and you want to just try to get a few extra passes, looking especially to the right side, now could be a time.
They hand off to Garnett. And the Capital City defense sniffs it out quickly. Great job getting there and making the stop.
Just great pressure once again from Capital City just to try to sniff out what the Jays are cooking here in the second half. So once again, these are some plays that we've seen Capital City run on their home turf. And just once again, credit to Joe Collier and the defense just to try to keep them in their own territory.
Spiraling kick. It takes a Jefferson City bounce at the 30. Inside the 10. And it'll be down at the 7. So with 8:19 to play here in the 3rd, Capital City forces Jefferson City to punt. And now it seems like there's a little bit of a momentum swing here at Atkins Stadium, Joe, where Capital City has an opportunity to capitalize on the opportunity to potentially go 93 yards for a score.
And they've got all the time in the world to make it happen, too. So wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see runs. Thomas taking the first one up for 3 yards. Once again, just trying to milk the clock and make the possession their own. But also, too, kind of want to talk a little bit about this atmosphere tonight. Earlier in the week, I've noticed just some publications saying how for Jefferson City, this is not a big game on paper for them. While for Capital City, this is the first time they've kind of come in as a favorite, if you will, and they're riding high with momentum. this has been a lot of energy that we've seen on and off the field this evening.
Carroll gives to Jacobs. Picks up 4 on the play. Brings up 3rd and 2nd. Jacobs on pace to eclipse that 100-yard mark. 12 carries for 47 yards tonight. Hasn't seen the end zone, but scoring's been at a premium tonight.
That it has, and we knew that was going to be the case coming in, since once again, run, hit that defense over and over and over again. So points will continue to be a premium.
3rd and 2 with a wingback set and 2 wide receivers wide right. Quick handoff to Jacobs. Got close to the first down marker. And I believe he should have the first down here. And he does.
Great pressure coming in from Jacobs, the guy that you need just to really give you at least a little bit of breathing room, especially as we've seen with Cap City drives. If they're pinned all the way down, deep in opposing territory, you're going to see the utilization of Jacobs and Thomas just to try to keep inching away and chipping away at the Jeff City defense until maybe you find a little bit of a break and an opportunity to slide on in.
Similar formation on 1st and 10. This time, Thomas gets the handoff. And he'll find his way up to the 20. As we get near the halfway mark of the 3rd quarter, still a tie ball game here in Jefferson City, Missouri. Just to recap the scoring, the Jays punched it in on a 1-yard run inside 2 minutes to go back in the 2nd. Capital City got a big stop on 4th and 1. Then on the first play of their drive, Hayden Carroll went 45 yards for a score. This time, Carroll pitches it outside to Thomas on an option read, and they get back to the line of scrimmage with no gain on the play.
Great stuff coming from Jordan and Johnson just to try to stop Thomas from moving just a little bit more and more forward, leaving Capital City again with a 3rd and 5. Looks like Collier. One thing that we've talked about with Hayden Carroll, he's always connecting with his coach just to ensure that not only the communication is there, but maybe if there's a last-minute change, utilizing that play clock to their advantage and utilizing the clock to make more efficient drives.
Ty Wood split down to the left. Cameron Harrison at the top of your screen. They give to Jalen Thomas. Thomas trying to get to the outside. Thomas trying to fight through some tacklers and finally brought down by Brody Center. And here comes the fireworks.
And it looks like number 2